having lost all my memories. I transmigrated to a brutally cold apocalypse to complete the system's mission. I married that man 9 times. Right before returning to the real world, I asked, will we lose our memories of this place once we go back? Probably not. Emo. Will you forget me? Before transmigrating, I had unexpectedly fallen into a voice coma echoed in my mind. Hello, Ost. Welcome to the Doomsday Livestream System. When I opened my eyes, I had been dragged into a freezing apocalypse. Before I was even fully awake, I was forced into a livestream room. In front of the camera, I picked up the item in my hand and took a closer look. It was actually a pink bikini. It's minus 70 degrees outside, and you want me to sell bikinis? Complete an order, and you can destroy one of your enemy's real-world assets of equal value. If the mission fails, your physical functions in the real world will permanently decrease by 5%. But, having lost my memory, I couldn't remember who my enemy was at all. The livestream was about to start. I braced myself, picked up the bikini, and said, "Babes, this swimsuit is all about nostalgia. Wearing it will make you feel as if you've returned to those long-lost summer days." People in the chat were already mocking me. This person must have frozen her brain. Just ignore her. Seeing only a dozen viewers left in the stream, I continued to spout nonsense. This fabric is super elastic. You can take it apart and use it as a slingshot. It's an absolute must-have for self-defense in the apocalypse. Multi-purpose. Great value for money. Before I could even finish, the system prompted. User Silent has placed an order. Congratulations, host. You've completed your first order, executing the destruction of Panpan's real-world assets. Host has also obtained a memory fragment. Onimi? Isn't Panpan my husband? Suddenly, my head throbbed with a splitting pain. My consciousness seemed to return to the minute after I fell into a coma. I clearly heard Panpan's voice. The dosage was perfect. There won't be any issues this time. We're letting her off to easy. If it weren't for that inheritance, I wouldn't have swallowed my pride like this. That voice. It was Panpan's cousin, my best friend, Liu Ryan. So my enemies were them all along. The system notification rang out. Target asset destroyed. Limited edition Vacheron, Constantin watch. A scene from the real world projected before my eyes. Panpan was giving a passionate speech to a group of investors. The watch on his wrist suddenly snapped and fell to the ground. The entire dial instantly shattered into dust. His face turned completely green with shock. I was also stunned for a moment. Wait, this is way too satisfying. System prompt. Second mission begins. Please continue the livestream. The second item was an inflatable kayak. Comments started floating across the screen. Ah. All rivers and lakes are frozen solid like iron now. Let's see how the streamer manages to sell a kayak. I took a deep breath. Bab. This kayak can be used together with a sled. This makes up for the regret that skiing and boating could never be done at the same time. It'll make your skiing much more stable. And boating much more effortless. I really couldn't keep making this up. What is this garbage? The chat was filled with hey ha ha. Haven't seen such an abstract streamer in a while. System prompt. User Silent has placed an order. Congratulations, host. You've completed the second mission. Currently, destroying Panpan's real-world asset. Rolls-Royce Phantom. In the footage sent by the system, that car, bizarrely, began to spontaneously combust. Flames shot into the sky instantly. Even the fire trucks couldn't save it. Watching this scene, I was extremely satisfied. This system really understands what I want. For the next few days, I kept selling goods with all my might. Panpan suffered heavy losses. He lost everything inside and out, left with nothing but his long johns. But no matter what bizarre items I sold, the one buying was always that silent guy. I was very curious about who he was and why he kept helping me. But the live stream had to continue. This time, the mission item was a wedding dress. Before I even started introducing it, Silent had already placed an order. Special item sold. Crucial memory fragment unlocked. The system projected a scene from the night before my wedding. Liu Ryan, with a twisted expression, was holding a pair of scissors, cutting my wedding dress to shreds. Weird. I really didn't understand. She used to be my best friend. The system's voice brought me back to reality. New item on the shelf. Soothing sleep pillow. This familiar pillow. It seemed to be the exact one my usually loving mother-in-law had specially gotten from a temple for me. I wanted to know the truth so badly. As expected, Silent bought it in a split second again. Special item sold. Crucial memory fragment unlocked. In the footage, my mother-in-law was pouring a packet of dark red powder into the pillowcase. Once she breathes enough of this in, Bingbing will turn into a completely obedient idiot. When that time comes, the family fortune will all belong to our Panpan. In un instant, Pine's house. At that moment, Silent suddenly sent me a private message. Sell the last item. I'll be waiting for you at the finish line. After the item was sold, I unlocked the final memory fragment. In a hotel room, Panpan and Liu Ryan were intimately cuddling on the sofa. Paul, when are you going to make Bingbing disappear? The mistress of this house should be me. Don't be impatient. Once I pull her life support, the inheritance will be all ours. You are my true love. Even though I was mentally prepared, facing a scene like this head-on still felt like reality had slapped me hard in the face. This is way too sick. Are they actually cousins? I used to be all alone in the world, and Liu Ryan always stayed by my side. Was none of it genuine? I let out a heavy sigh. System, take me to see Silent. The space around me began to shift. In the hallway, a tall figure had his back facing me. He turned around. My name is Mao Bufin. His voice was hoarse. Bingbing, did you know? Panpan's appetite isn't that small. Not only does he want to kill you, he also wants to ruin me. Did you want to team up with me? I said without hesitation. No, Mao Bufin froze on the spot. Not just Panpan. Liu Ryan isn't getting away either. He let out a sigh of relief. I am Panpan's boss. The day I found out he embezzled company funds, he knocked me out. When I woke up, I had arrived here and was bound to the Billionaire system. I can only return to reality if I spend all my money here. The way Mao Bufin looked at me suddenly held a bit of pity. You were poisoned by Panpan's family. In reality, you're already in a toxic coma. Lying in the hospitals, I see you. You might be dying soon. My whole body went instantly cold. I just couldn't figure out why Panpan and Liu Ryan would team up to harm me. They didn't have any blood relation. Liu Ryan was originally Panpan's girlfriend. Back then, it was Liu Ryan who introduced her so-called cousin to you. They knew your family left you a huge inheritance, so they tricked you into marrying Panpan. As long as you die, he can rightfully inherit everything of yours. I felt as if struck by lightning. So their whole family had been putting on an act all along. I was the only one kept in the dark. He used fake contracts to siphon funds and stole a lot of investments using my company's name. For the sake of money, He was actually capable of doing anything. The system's voice rang out in my mind once again. Special mission. Obtain one sweet kiss from Mao Bufan to unlock a new apocalyptic secret. I was dumbfounded. What kind of garbage mission is this? At the same time, Mao Bufan's originally expressionless face actually showed a hint of shyness. The system just told me. Before he could finish, I had already guessed what his mission was. Mao Bufan hesitated, as if he wanted to discuss it further. I just took a deep breath, steeled my resolve, closed me and towards me. I made it quick. Then pretended like nothing. Adapnid. Mao Bufan was blushing red, his hands not knowing where to rest. The atmosphere became extremely awkward for a moment. The system's voice rang out again. Mao Bufan and I looked up at the same time. Congratulations to both hosts. System link successful. Data has been synced. Secret obtained. Bingbing's inventory value totals 9 million. For every item sold, one of Panpan's physical assets will be destroyed. Clear all inventory to return to the real world. Mao Bufan's spending quota totals 9 million. Every purchase will deplete Panpan's corresponding cash assets. Exhaust the entire quota to return to the real world. My brain was processing this at high speed. After a few seconds of silence, you spend money, I sell goods. With just a few transactions, we can completely drain Panpan's fortune. This mission is practically custom-made for us. But Mao Bufan looked grim. The system has a daily spending limit. I can only spend up to 100,000 a day, which means it will take at least 90 days to spend it all. 90 days is fine. I can wait. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Warning, Panpan is preparing to pull your life support. Your life has entered the countdown phase. My vision went dark, and I almost fainted. Mao Bufan quickly reached out to catch me and asked the system, how can we increase the spending limit to encourage apocalyptic survivors to rebuild civilization? This system has a special family reward mechanism. Upon registering for marriage in the apocalypse, the personal limit will be upgraded to a family limit. The cap will increase to 1 million per day. What the hell is this? Even the apocalypse is trying to boost the marriage rate. With no time to overthink, Mao Bufan and I rushed to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The clerk was extremely efficient. 2 little red marriage booklets were handed to us in minutes. Congratulations to the hosts for completing the Doomsday marriage mission. Daily spending limit has been raised to 1 million. Also, unlocking a real-world memory fragment. My vision blackened again, and I almost collapsed. Door the floor. Luckily, Mao Bufan caught me, smoothly pulling me into his arms. My consciousness returned to reality on the day we registered our marriage. I had drunk a bowl of chicken soup made by my mother-in-law. After I blindly followed Panpan to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I finally realized that breathing in whatever was in that pillow long-term, combined with the drugs added to the soup, had put me in a trance. I had truly become an obedient idiot. So, every single step was meticulously calculated. I woke up from the memory with a start, finding myself lying in Mao Bufan's arms. He was looking at me with a worried expression. I quickly stumbled to my feet. He seemed to let out a sigh of relief, and silently supported me as we walked toward the door. But after taking just 2 steps, a brilliant idea popped into my mind. I turned around and dashed back to the counter. I want a divorce. Mao Bufan and the clerk were both stunned. My gaze was resolute. The clerk tremblingly processed the paperwork. System, what is our daily limit now? Your current daily spending limit is 1 million. Mao Bufan instantly caught on to my plan. He grabbed my hand. We made up. Please register our marriage again. Half an hour later. Mao, Bufan and I, each carrying a bag full of marriage certificates, walked out of the registration hall. We got married a total of 9 times. Finally, accumulating a limit of 9 million, Mao, Bufan, and I exchanged a knowing smile. This system bug. We really exploited it well. Let's finish this big heist today. Then we can get the hell out of here. That night, my livestream kicked into overdrive. I put every bizarre item in my inventory up for sale one by one. And Mao, Bufan became a soulless buying machine. Soon, we spent the full 9 million. My inventory was completely emptied. The system's voice sounded exhausted, like an overworked corporate slave. Congratulations, hosts, for completing all missions. Pampa no longer has any physical or cash assets. Both of you will return to the real world tonight. Following the system's guidance, Mao, Bufan and I arrived in front of a portal. The wind and snow howled. I was still basking in the thrill of revenge. Behind me, Mao, Bufan carefully reached his hand out to me. His voice was a bit heavy. Once we go back, will we lose our memories of this place? My heart suddenly skipped a beat. The system never mentioned that. Once we return to the real world, would everything we experienced here just vanish into thin air? Probably not. I avoided his gaze. Once we're back, we still have to take down that monster, Panpan, together. His voice turned slightly hoarse. Emo. Will you forget me? My chest suddenly felt tight, unable to breathe. Mao, Bufan stared at me deeply. The system's voice suddenly chimed in. Dear hosts, to thank you both for your contributions to the apocalyptic marriage rate and GDP growth. This system will let you retain all your memories of the apocalypse. Mao, Bufan, and I felt a massive wave of relief. Holding hands, we stepped into the portal, amidst the howling blizzard. My consciousness traveled through the darkness. Finally, familiar voices reached my ears. Doctor, it's been so many days, why isn't she waking up? Is there no hope left? I don't think there's any point in continuing treatment. It's just a waste of money. Liu Ryan and my mother-in-law were echoing each other, putting the doctor in a tough spot. Panpan spoke up directly. Doctor, dragging this on is just torturing her. We've decided to pull the plug. With all my remaining strength, I snapped my eyes open. My gaze directly met the family of 3s. Shocked and terrified faces. Bing Bing, you're awake. Liu Ryan lunged toward me, putting on an act of weeping tears of joy. You have no idea how worried we were. I didn't have the energy to play along. I reached out and tugged at the nurse's uniform. Seeing this, the nurse immediately leaned in. I lowered my voice as much as I could. They tried to kill me. Call the police. The nurse stiffened for a second, then discreetly stood back up, giving me an I understand look. My mother-in-law also began her performance. Thank the heavens. As long as you're awake. Looking at your color, you must be out of danger. Bing Bing. Come home with us. Panpan couldn't wait any longer. Doctor, we want to process her discharge. The patient just woke up. Her vitals are still unstable. She cannot be discharged right now. She's awake, isn't she? Your hospital just wants to squeeze more money out of us. We have the patient's best interests in mind. Easy for you to say. Are you paying her medical bills? Our Panpan has neglected his work just for her. Have any of you ever considered our situation? The mother-in-law started throwing a tantrum and Liu Ryan backed her up from the sidelines, while the doctor argued with them. The nurse slipped out amidst the chaos. Not long after, 2 police officers appeared at the ward door. The moment the mother-in-law saw the police, her eyes instantly cleared up. This is our family matter. We're just discussing her discharge. The police officers ignored her and walked straight to my bed. Miss, do you need assistance? Help me, they poisoned me. They're trying to kill me. Nonsense, Bing Bing, have you gone mad? We took care of you with all our hearts. And yet, you falsely accuse us. I didn't even spare her a glance. All three of them were taken away for investigation. The ward finally went quiet. Just as I was struggling to sit up, a familiar figure appeared at the door. Finally found you. Mal Bufin came to my bedside. Are you all right? Did Panpan do anything to you? X en termes fin. They've already been taken away by the police. He let out a sigh of relief. So, what are your plans now? First, file for an annulment at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Draw a clean line between me and Panpan. A trace of joy appeared on Mal Bufin's exhausted face. All right, and then? Then you go and sue him. Sue him for embezzlement and corporate fraud. There's no rush for that. I need to make sure you're safe first before making a move. I don't want you dragged down by him. Looking at his serious expression, I inexplicably felt a lot more confident. Don't worry. Once their poisoning scheme is exposed, I can prove that I was coerced into registering for the marriage. The marriage will be annulled very soon. As we were talking, an investigating officer arrived at my bed and responsibly began to ask about the ins and outs of the situation. That very night, the drugs my mother-in-law hadn't had time to destroy, and that poison pillow, were all confiscated by the police. She cried and screamed, saying I framed her. But with the physical evidence present, no matter how much she defended herself, it was useless to reduce her sentence. She even ratted out Liu Ryan as her accomplice, claiming they plotted the poisoning together. Liu Ryan was furious and tried to drag Panpan down with them. Unfortunately, his mother cleared his name completely. Moreover, the police found no evidence proving Panpan was involved in the poisoning. Just like that, the mother-in-law and Liu Ryan were brought to justice. But Panpan managed to escape by a hair. The moment he got out of the police station, he called me. As soon as I answered, he started cursing. Bing Bing, you little bitch. You ruined my mum and Yanyan. I won't let you get away with this. What a coincidence. I wasn't planning on letting you go. I remember all your precious assets. I destroyed every single one of them with my own hands. What are you so smug about? Weren't those our joint marital assets? Those were things you scammed before we got married. They have nothing to do with me. Oh, by the way, Mal Bufin has gathered all the evidence to sue you. You couldn't pay off those debts in several lifetimes. Whatever, we are husband and wife. If I can't pay it back, you'll have to pay it for me. I've already annulled our marriage. Didn't see that coming, did you? With no money to pay your debts, just wait to rot in jail. I hung up the phone. Mal Bufin just came out of the kitchen. Bing Bing, come try the pickled cabbage pork ribs I made. Doomsday, we enjoyed a warm and delicious meal. All our exhaustion was swept away. For the next few days, I never saw Panpan again. Even on the day of the trial, the defendant's seat was empty. Until that afternoon when I was curled up on Mal Bufin's soft sofa. He came back from outside. Did you hear? Panpan was accidentally beaten into a vegetative state by debt collectors. I burst out laughing. That scumbag. Do you think, after losing consciousness, he might have transmigrated too? Mal Bufin asked tentatively. System, where is Panpan right now? As soon as he spoke, the familiar voice immediately rang out. Dear former hosts, Panpan's consciousness has arrived in the extreme cold apocalypse. He is now bound to the skiing system and has been gifted the skiing equipment. Invented by former host Bingbing. The kayak sled combo. I couldn't quite wrap my head around this abstract system. Mao Bufan also voiced his confusion. So, his mission is? The host needs to use the designated equipment to ski and accumulate mileage. Every 10,000 kilometers offsets 100 yuan of his real-world debt. Once mileage offsets all debts, he will wake up in reality. His food, clothing, and shelter in the apocalypse must be earned by the host through manual labor. I imagined the scene the system described. In the piercing minus 70-degree wind, Pampan was dragging a kayak sled, trudging arduously through the ice and snow. From then on, he became the legendary, abstract ski king of the Doomsday Wasteland. He was even reviewed by experts as a piece of performance art that no one will understand for 30 years. Mao Bufan reached out and pulled me back to reality. It's all over. Stop thinking about him. Première no dead. Shouldn't we celebrate a little? Of course. I've already prepared the ingredients. Come, let's cook together.